Good morning, it's Barbara. It is sunny and bright and beautiful. Looking out my window, I didn't see a cloud. We'll see what I see when I go out now. Good morning, it's Barbara. Thank you for joining me for coffee. Oofda, it is so beautiful out here. I can see myself being out here today. I may have a meeting with a real estate lawyer this afternoon on the phone. Seems like a beautiful place to take a meeting, don't you think? And it's Monday, so the chances of certainly the chances of lawnmower interrupting my meeting is pretty low. Even if they're mowing next door, it won't be the same. I've decided to go with my blushing berry that my granddaughters like. L'Oreal. It is not a stay all day. $5.90. Color riche. I suppose they're French. If the company's French, it's not, pretentious to put things in French. I guess. Anyway, good morning. Yeah, so I haven't talked about my mom's estate in a while. It's been on hold because everything is predicated on disposing of the farm. The property my parents owned. We call it the farm. My dad did grow grapes there. He had a winery on that farm, on that property, and he grew grapes. He had acres. I don't know how many acres, 5 acres of grapes or something. So I guess you could call it a farm. When they moved out to that property, when they bought it, it was listed in the newspaper as land only. That's how bad the house was. The house had no indoor plumbing. It was an old farmhouse that had 3 tiny bedrooms upstairs and 2 rooms downstairs. A living room, and I don't know what the other room was supposed to be. By the time I got a good look at it, my parents had made that their bedroom. So my brothers and I moved in with my parents in the summertime. My sister by that time was out of college, and she never actually lived on the farm. We moved there this summer between my sophomore and junior year of high school. And it did have a well, but it didn't have indoor plumbing. So we spent the summer on this farm. The first thing Daddy did was he built a big porch, deck-like porch off the living room to what I think of as the back of the house, but it was facing the road, which was some distance away. And he put a kitchen sink unit on the porch. And he ran water to the kitchen sink, because we did have a well, to the kitchen sink. And so that was our running water, was this kitchen sink on an open deck under a tree. And it had a hose that we connected to it and stood off the deck to take showers. So we took showers outside off of this sink. And this was our running water for the summer. We had an outhouse, which we used all summer. And that summer, my dad, and with some help from my brothers, built an addition on the other side of the house of a kitchen and a bathroom. And so that was the house that I lived in on the farm. And it was a very old farmhouse. It didn't have, its heating system was a heater in the basement that put heat up, and the floors had big registers grates in them so that the hot air would rise. So we were using physics to heat this house. The parents put a wood burning stove in the living room, but we were using physics. Hot air rises. And it was very, breezy, you could have the windows closed and the curtains would still move, It was very, very drafty house. The coldest I've ever been in my life was the middle of the winter when we lost power and my electric blanket went out. I was cold. So anyway, this is the property that my parents lived on we moved there. Let's see. We lived in town, in State College. We lived in a lovely little house, and I don't know what got into my parents, but they bought this place when I was a junior in high school, so it was 1970. 71. I graduated from high school in 72. And it's 73 acres. It had an old falling down barn. One of the first things they did was take the barn down because it was very dangerous. And eventually my dad decided to, build a winery. To make wine. And let's see, the winery opened when I was pregnant with Christy. And she was born 3 days before 1980. So she was born in 79, but it was practically 1980. And I was pregnant with her, so the winery opened in 1979, as I recall, in the summertime. And they built their new house when Christy was probably 5 or 6. So they ran the winery with the old house for quite a while. So the new house is 40 years old almost. 38, something like that. Anyway, this is the property my parents lived on. And it's a beautiful property, funny shaped. It has a right-of-way to the road, but it doesn't, we don't own the piece to the road. Anyway, it's a beautiful place, and that is my parents' gift to their children, was that they left us this property. And my sister's gift in her passing is she left my brother John enough money that he could buy out me and my brother Tim and own the farm outright, which is what he would like to do. So that's what's happening now. Is I have I am going to be meeting with a lawyer recommended by my friend Bonnie, either this afternoon or sometime tomorrow, to talk about sort of this weird title transfer, because it's not exactly a sale. I mean, it is a sale. He's buying 2/3 of this property. So I don't, but it's not, wouldn't be considered a regular sale. And I don't know, obviously I need somebody who knows how to deal with this and, title search and all that stuff. So we'll get somebody local who knows what they're doing and will help us do this essentially title transfer sale between siblings. So that's what's going on with my mother's estate. And once that's done, then we'll know exactly where we stand with the rest of the estate, and the rest of it gets distributed to the grandchildren. But once that transaction happens, so who knows? We may get my mom settled by the end of the summer. My mom's estate by the end of the summer. So that would be nice. That would be nice. Is that too much information? Have I just told you too many things that I shouldn't put out on the internet? I don't even know. It's hard for me to know. But that's the next step in my mom's estate, is sorting out the farm. And we're all very happy that John wants it, and it'll stay in the family. And yeah, because otherwise, you know, we would be selling it, and I think that would make us sad. So that's what's happening today. I got an email. I sent, you know, an email to this guy over the weekend, and he responded first thing this morning. Now, I had, before I thought of asking my friend Bonnie its advice, who, you know, I should have thought of right away. You know, John had mentioned, well, this is like the biggest law firm in the area, and they do this kind of stuff. And I had sent them an email on Thursday, and I haven't heard back. So guess which one I'm going to pick? The one my friend advised me to contact, and who actually contacted me back. What a concept. Anyway, so I did some knitting yesterday and some thinking. I get such good advice from you guys. Thank you so much. It's so nice to have a community of people who really care about you and know you well enough to give you good advice. So here is my sweater so far, and this is 13 inches, maybe 13 and a half inches. The pattern says 11 and a half, but as I was advised by friends, you're not going to be, if it's too short, you're not going to wear it. And I do want to wear it because I do love it. So I just added 2 more inches, which makes it still a short-ish sweater for me, but I think it's long enough that I'll wear it. I want to keep the boxy aspect of it because it looks a little boxy to me. You know, here, I'll show you the picture again. This is the Daft Days cardigan, and it's kind of boxy, and it's a little bit cropped, but I didn't want it quite that cropped, but I do like the sort of boxy aspect of it. So that's what I decided. These are the colors. This is where it is. I'm so happy with how it is coming. I cannot tell you. So I did 2 rows in the beige. And so the split is going to happen in the middle of a beige stripe, which I think will work. And I've been thinking about it, and I want the stripes in the front to match. So I'll do the 2 fronts exactly the same. But the reality is that the back will be disconnected from the front by the sleeves at this point. So that whether the back matches or not is less important, I think. However, I guess I don't really know why I wouldn't just make it match. So right now my plan is to make it match. Takes 4 to 5 grams of the contrasting colors per stripe, and the stripes aren't going to change size. Well, they will a little bit, because apparently I'm going to be casting off some stitches like right under the arm. So technically it won't have exactly the same stitch count, but it'll be close. So there's no reason not to just keep doing what I'm doing. And I'll just, as I'm using the next color, I'll put it in a bag so that it's easy, you know, separate bags. So it's easy for me to find, because I'm going to want to find it 2 more times for the back and then for the other side of the front. So that's my plan. But I'm just loving the fabric. I'm loving how squishy it is and how beautiful, and I'm loving my colors. It's just making me smile. So this qualifies for the 2025 joyous make-along, which I hardly ever talk about, but we're doing a joyous make-along. We'll soon be drawing for another prize, and thank you for everybody who's participating and finding joy in their crafting. This is bringing me a lot of joy. Apparently, I'm very much on a minis kick, scrappy project kick, whatever you want to call it, because, you know, my trove brought me joy, even though I couldn't remember the name of it the other day. And this is really bringing me joy. And it's funny because these are some of the same colors as in my trove, but, you know, and my trove has a similar stitch pattern in that it's a little bit of a textury, slip stitchy thing going on, but I don't think that they read very much alike, although I will confess I have not blocked my trove yet, and I think I'm going to do that now that I have a spare bed that I can use as to put my blocks, my blocking mat on. I might just do that, because I do want to make sure that I can block my trove out big enough, because if those sleeves still feel a little bit short, I'm going to take those cuffs off and keep knitting. I still have more of the pink. I have obviously more of the minis, and I'm just going to go back and make it longer. If I'm wrong about making those sleeves right, because they feel like a little bit like they're trying to tug themselves shorter, but I think that trove will really relax and be bigger when I block it. So I think I want to do that. I have not woven in the ends. Now, I took care of most of the ends of the body of the sweater as I was knitting it, but I haven't woven in the ends on the cuffs, and you know, so it should make it easy to take it back out. I did it once, I can do it again, and make those sleeves longer if I have to. So I need to block my trove one of these days. I have never used the spin only cycle on my brand new washing machine since my old washer broke my heart. It was a wonderful washer. So I'll find out how that works, because, you know, when you're doing knitting, you need a spin cycle. So the other thing is I keep coming across the pockets for my super bulky grandpa sweater that I knit, but I've never put on, because I washed that super bulky grandpa sweater on the hand wash cycle of my old washing machine, and it felted a bit. It just got a little bit smaller, which worked out because I got a little bit smaller, and it's much denser now, and I wore it yesterday as my jacket when I walked the dogs. It was perfect. Because I just needed a little something because it was windy and a little bit cool, and it was great. But the problem is, of course, I just knit the pockets and they're not felted at all. So I need to probably do it by hand, just to get really hot water and mush them around and see if I can make them look similar to what the body of the sweater looks like now, because I'm never putting it in the washing machine again. So it's not like it's, you know, once I sew them on, that they'll shrink more and it, you know, make a weirdness on the, you know, sweater itself, but more just the look of it, I think. We shall see. These are things, you know, I have a pile of sweaters that have been in a pile for coming up on 2 years or more, of sweaters that I love, that I don't wear because they had gotten big snags or a little bit torn. I have this beautiful pink sweater that I have raspberry colored mohair sheer part at the bottom that I love. A beautiful pink sweater, you know, yarn and suggestion from the wonderful Valerie. And but Maisie snagged the bottom of that very light thin knit mohair and tore it a little bit, and it just needs a raspberry colored thread. I need to mend it with thread. That's how you know, sheer the bottom is. But I haven't worn it because I haven't done that. And I have another cardigan, summer cardigan, but lovely, that I really like, that has a big giant snag in it, and I didn't want to wear it till I fixed it, and then that was years ago. So I have a pile of to be fixed knitting. I have my trove that I need to block to make sure that when the cold comes back, I'll be ready to wear that gorgeous sweater that makes me so happy. And maybe put pockets on my super bulky grandpa sweater, which I also love and could use pockets. They're even knit already, so starting to think about things like that, which feels good because it feels like my knitterly brain is kind of working. I am going to be working on this today. I'm splitting, so that's a little bit of brain work, not a lot. Knit this number, you know, bind off this number, knit this number, bind off that number. Not a lot. But it'll work. It'll be fine. But I'm so happy with my sweater. So there you go. Daft days indeed. So I'm gonna go. I've got to upload this video. I gotta see if the lawyer has replied to my reply and move forward. Dennis and Kim are taking Aura to her wound doctor today. See, she's got a sore on her foot that needs attention. And so they will be hanging out with her. I made my crackers yesterday. Actually, yesterday felt so good. I don't know if you can tell. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. Yesterday was such a good day. I got so much done. And it wasn't so much, you know, but it was enough so that I made my crackers. And then Dennis was sitting down to do the bills, and I paid my credit card. And in the process of doing bills, he tried to shred something, and our shredder was full. So we're working with the shredder, emptying the shredder, and I'm like, you know, we got the shredder out here. Let me just shred things, because I had a box this big full of papers from my parents when I was going through their paperwork that said, you know, this should be shredded. And I just collected this box, and this box has been sitting next to my table for 6 months, overflowing, you know, Pete and Terry cleaning around it, us eating around it, you know. That's how I do in my house. I end up with these corners of piles of things that need attention. And so I went through that. Half of it wasn't really needing to be shredded. It was just recycled. And I went through and I sorted it and I shredded it and I got rid of that box. And at the same time, I got rid of the recycle bin that was next to Aura's chair, so that it's out of the living room. So it just felt like progress. It felt like progress, and it feels really good to have that box gone. So I was feeling good yesterday, and then I knit, and I decided on what I was going to do, and I put some pretty colors in and said, okay, now I'm ready to go forward. So I'm feeling pretty good. There we go. That's the story. I don't have any plans to go out except for Wing with the dogs. We have to spell things these days, W-A-L-K. Sometimes we say perambulate. Today's Monday, so it is trash day, so we'll have to make sure we take the trash down. And it's not a holiday week, so that will work. And, well, anyway, I'm rambling now, so I'm going to go. But I'm feeling pretty good, and I hope you are too. Please take good care of yourselves. please, please, please stay safe and stay sane.